That sounds like a gripping video intro, but just to clarify, there is currently no credible evidence or verified report indicating that Mike Wolfe has been sentenced to life in prison or is involved in the death of Frank Fritz. If you're creating fictional content or a dramatic piece for storytelling or entertainment purposes, I can help you shape it accordingly. But if you're aiming for factual reporting, it's essential to ensure that the story is accurate to avoid spreading misinformation. Mike Wolfe, once the charismatic face of American Pickers, now finds himself behind bars, sentenced to life in prison following the mysterious and tragic death of his longtime co-host and friend, Frank Fritz. The case has shattered the illusion of their once close bond and revealed a dark undercurrent of betrayal, obsession, and secrets long buried beneath the surface of their on-screen success. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss an update on this shocking case. We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into the unbelievable twists and turns in the fall of Mike Wolfe. In a shocking turn of events, American Pickers star Mike Wolfe has been convicted in connection with the tragic death of his longtime co-host and friend, Frank Fritz. Fans were left speechless as Wolfe was taken away in handcuffs. What many assumed was just behind-the-scenes tension turned out to be something far more sinister. As the truth came to light, a darker narrative emerged, leaving the nation reeling from the chilling details of a case no one saw coming. Authorities swiftly named Mike Wolfe the primary suspect in what has come to be known as the Fritz incident. Just days before Frank Fritz's tragic passing, Wolfe took to Instagram to share a heartfelt tribute, one that, at the time, appeared to be a sincere farewell to a cherished friend. But as investigators dug deeper, the emotional post began to seem more like a calculated cover. Unsettling evidence soon surfaced, pointing directly to Wolfe and igniting a darker, more disturbing investigation. One that would unravel the truth behind a friendship gone fatally wrong. Initially, Frank Fritz's death was attributed to complications from a stroke, an assumption that aligned with his known medical history. But that narrative quickly unraveled when authorities discovered a seemingly innocuous item at the scene: an empty pill bottle. What made it alarming wasn't just its presence. It was the fact that Mike Wolfe's fingerprints were all over it. Forensic toxicology reports confirmed that Fritz had a lethal dose of fentanyl in his system, a potent opioid he had never been prescribed. Given his fragile health, investigators ruled out any possibility that he had taken the drug voluntarily. Suddenly, what was thought to be a tragic natural death took on a far more sinister tone. The emotional climax of the trial arrived when Danielle Colby took the stand. Her voice trembled as she described the transformation in Wolfe. Mike became obsessed with being the only face of the show. It was like he stopped seeing Frank as a friend and started seeing him as a threat. Her testimony provided the final piece of the puzzle. Frank Fritz's death wasn't the result of a tragic accident. It was the result of a cold, calculated betrayal carried out by the man he had once called his closest friend. Mike Wolfe's empire may have been built on antiques, but his true pursuit was power. That quest came at a cost, revealed in court when Fritz's doctor confirmed the lethal drugs weren't prescribed to him. The final blow came when Wolfe, cornered, snapped. "You don't understand what it's like to build something from nothing and watch someone else profit just by smiling at the camera." Wolfe's outburst stunned the courtroom, forcing his defense team to quickly call for a recess. But the damage was done. Jurors later called it the turning point, an unfiltered glimpse into the deep resentment and jealousy Wolfe had long hidden beneath his public image. In that moment, the mask cracked, and the truth was laid bare. Financial motives added a chilling layer to the case. Forensic accountants revealed that months before Fritz's death, Wolfe had quietly restructured his company to gain full control of Fritz's intellectual property should his health decline. Even more damning, Wolfe had taken out a $5 million life insurance policy on Fritz, with his own company as the sole beneficiary. He also funneled over $2 million in rare antiques through shell companies. To prosecutors, the message was clear: this wasn't just personal. It was a cold, calculated plan. Just 4 hours into deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict: guilty. When the judge sentenced Mike Wolfe to life without parole, the courtroom fell into stunned silence. Then chaos. Wolfe suddenly stood, his composure shattered. "You don't understand," he screamed. "He wanted to destroy everything. My legacy." In a violent outburst, he lunged at the defense table, sending papers and water flying. Officers rushed to restrain him as he thrashed and shouted, trying to charge at Fritz's grieving family. In that final moment, Wolfe didn't just lose control. He exposed the darkness that had always lurked beneath the surface, hidden behind the smile of a beloved TV star. Chaos broke out as Wolfe snatched a walking stick, ironically, a key piece of evidence, and swung it at a police officer, hitting him in the shoulder. 3 officers tackled him, slamming him to the ground as he screamed, "I created American Pickers. It's my life's work." Pinned down, Wolfe's eyes locked on Danielle Colby. "Tell them the truth," he snarled. "Tell them who Frank really was." The courtroom, once filled with gasps, fell into dead silence, the weight of his unraveling legacy hanging in the air. Wolfe's voice cracked as he shouted again, desperate, "Tell them." But Danielle Colby stayed silent, tears flowing down her face as she turned away. The courtroom had already seen the damning documents, evidence of Wolfe's manipulation, isolating Fritz and alienating the crew. Even as officers restrained him, Wolfe raged on. "I'll start my own show." He said I was outdated, that the network wanted him back. What remained was not just fury, but a man consumed by the empire he'd created. As Wolfe was dragged from the courtroom, the judge leaned in, delivering a final, scathing verdict. "You call yourself a guardian of history, but you're nothing more than a man consumed by hatred and control. Today's verdict is justice for Frank Fritz, and for everyone who once believed in you." The gavel struck, shattering the last illusion of the man Mike Wolfe once claimed to be. As the cold steel doors slammed shut behind Mike Wolfe, his final words echoed, "Goodbye, everyone." Was it a cry for help, a hint of remorse, or just the closing line of a man who'd spent his life crafting stories, only to become the villain in his own? In the end, the greatest treasure uncovered by American Pickers wasn't an antique, but the dark truth buried beneath fame, greed, and betrayal. The bond between Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz was the soul of American Pickers, the hit reality show that captivated millions worldwide. Together, they traveled the country, unearthing forgotten treasures in barns and backrooms, each with its own history. What made the show truly special wasn't just the antiques. It was their dynamic, built on years of friendship, respect, and a shared love for the hunt. Their chemistry was undeniable. Wolfe's smooth charm and Fritz's grounded, no-nonsense approach sparked genuine banter and disagreements that felt authentic. It was real, and that's what kept viewers coming back. Behind the scenes, the once solid bond between Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz began to crumble. The first sign came with Fritz's absence from American Pickers Season 21, initially blamed on serious health issues, including heart problems and chronic back pain that made filming impossible. But health wasn't the only problem. Insiders later disclosed that creative differences and clashing work ethics had been brewing for years. What began as a partnership built on trust had evolved into a quiet rift, one neither man seemed willing or able to mend. As time passed, Wolfe reportedly tightened his hold on creative control, gradually pushing Fritz to the sidelines, both on set and behind the scenes. Production insiders whispered that Wolfe spoke critically of Fritz to network executives, subtly undermining his longtime partner. Feeling increasingly isolated and betrayed, Fritz watched as the show they built together slipped away. The camaraderie that once defined their partnership had vanished, replaced by tension, resentment, and silence. While the show continued with its familiar smile, the cracks behind the scenes had become too large to conceal. The criminal case against Mike Wolfe sent shockwaves through the reality TV world, throwing American Pickers into turmoil. The History Channel quickly pulled episodes featuring Wolfe and issued a statement expressing shock and condolences to Frank Fritz's family. Major sponsors followed, severing ties and leaving the show's future uncertain. Fritz's family soon filed a lawsuit to reclaim his antique collection and the intellectual property tied to the show. In their words, they weren't just seeking justice. They were fighting to preserve Frank's legacy and hold those responsible for enabling Wolfe's descent into darkness accountable. What disturbed many the most was how Mike Wolfe seemed to exploit his fame in the wake of Fritz's death. While posting public condolences on social media, he simultaneously launched commemorative merchandise, which sparked widespread outrage. To many, it felt less like a tribute and more like a cash grab. In her closing statement, lead prosecutor Sarah Donovan didn't hold back. This wasn't just a criminal case. It was a masterclass in deception, one that manipulated not only a friend, but millions of loyal fans. Investigators later discovered that over $1 million raised in Fritz's name had been funneled into accounts controlled by Wolfe, quietly, deliberately, and without explanation. When the guilty verdict was announced, shockwaves rippled through the fan base. Longtime viewer Robert Jenkins captured the feeling of many. "We welcomed him into our homes every week, trusted his sincerity, only to find out it was all a lie." Former colleagues quickly distanced themselves from Wolfe, issuing statements honoring Frank Fritz and condemning the betrayal. The American Pickers cast was divided, some still clinging to Wolfe's innocence, others firmly standing by the damning evidence. Danielle Colby, a key figure on the show, publicly supported the prosecution and announced a hiatus from her career in the wake of the scandal. Despite the heartbreak, she expressed a quiet hope that Frank's love for history and antiques would endure, even as the show's legacy lay in ruins. Though Mike Wolfe now serves a life sentence without parole, the legacies of the two men have diverged sharply. Frank Fritz is remembered not for scandal, but for heart. A passionate collector with an eye for the overlooked and forgotten, his warm smile and infectious enthusiasm brought joy to millions. More than just a television personality, he became a symbol of authenticity, reminding us that history lives in the stories behind the rust, the dust, and the memories. In stark contrast, Mike Wolfe's legacy is now irrevocably tarnished. Once hailed as a trailblazer in the world of antique picking, his name is no longer linked to discovery, but to betrayal, greed, and a chilling descent into darkness. What began as a celebrated career has ended in disgrace. A cautionary tale of how unchecked ambition can dismantle everything it once built. The trial of Mike Wolfe, sparked by the heartbreaking death of his longtime friend and co-star Fritz, sent shockwaves through reality television and beyond. For years, American pickers won hearts with the undeniable chemistry between Wolfe and Fritz as they traveled America's forgotten roads, uncovering hidden treasures and sharing stories of the past. Their bond seemed genuine, built on mutual respect, a love for antiques, and a shared sense of adventure. But behind the scenes, that friendship slowly fell apart, uncovering tensions that would ultimately lead to a tragic and unthinkable end. Mike Wolfe's conviction marked a defining moment, not just for American pickers, but for the entire reality TV world. What many fans had once dismissed as rumors or creative differences was exposed in court, revealing a manipulative and calculating side of Wolfe's character. As the trial unfolded, it became clear. This wasn't just about ego, but a dangerous belief that success and legacy were his alone to claim, even if it meant sacrificing a lifelong friend. As the investigation deepened, suspicion quickly narrowed in on those who had been closest to Fritz during his final hours. A key breakthrough came from an unexpected source, a crew member from American Pickers, who stepped forward with a disturbing account that cast new light on the tension behind the scenes. Simultaneously, investigators uncovered a string of cryptic and unsettling messages sent by Mike Wolfe in the days leading up to Fritz's death, messages that suggested a growing resentment simmering beneath the surface. As electronic records, fingerprints, and toxicology reports piled up, all signs began pointing in one direction. Prosecutors painted a chilling portrait of Wolfe, driven by jealousy, professional envy, and a ruthless ambition to reclaim the spotlight. According to them, this wasn't just a tragic accident. It was a calculated act fueled by years of unresolved conflict. For longtime fans who had once brushed off the tension between the hosts as a mere publicity stunt to boost ratings, the truth struck a devastating blow. American Pickers had transcended its origins as a quirky treasure-hunting show. It had become an unfolding real-life tragedy marked by deep loss and bitter betrayal. The charm and camaraderie that once defined the series now seemed like a distant memory, overshadowed by the darkness that had taken hold behind the scenes. What was once a celebration of Americana had turned into a cautionary tale of ambition, fractured friendship, and the high cost of fame. What began as a light-hearted road trip through America's forgotten treasures had slowly unraveled into a dark tale of betrayal and deceit. Mike Wolfe, once seen as the charming heart of American Pickers, was no stranger to Fritz's doorstep. What fans had long interpreted as friendly visits were, in hindsight, the perfect cover for a far more sinister motive. Behind those casual drop-ins and brotherly banter hid a chilling plan, wrapped in manipulation and masked by years of trust. The facade of camaraderie was cracking, and the truth beneath it would shock the world. Toxicology reports revealed a chilling reality. Fritz had a deadly level of fentanyl in his system, enough to kill anyone, particularly dangerous given his fragile health. But as investigators dug deeper, a disturbing discovery surfaced: Mike Wolfe's internet search history. Prosecutors revealed that in the weeks leading up to Fritz's death, Wolfe had been searching for undetectable poisons and methods to mimic stroke symptoms, eerily aligning with the official cause of death. What appeared to be a tragic accident was, in fact, a carefully calculated crime. These shocking revelations sparked a full-scale investigation by the Iowa State Police. Undercover detectives quickly turned their attention to those closest to Frank Fritz in his final hours, and all evidence pointed directly to Mike Wolfe. The breakthrough came from surveillance footage captured in Fritz's quiet neighborhood. Wolfe's vehicle was clearly seen parked in Fritz's driveway just 3 hours before the 911 call was made. The call, made by Wolfe himself, initially seemed like a frantic cry for help, but a closer look revealed something far more calculated. A deliberate attempt to control the narrative before anyone could raise doubts. From the very start, it became clear. The truth was being buried beneath a carefully constructed lie. When paramedics arrived at the scene, Wolfe appeared visibly distraught. Some even noted seeing him in tears. But as the situation unfolded, a very different story began to emerge. Instead of mourning the loss of his longtime friend and partner, Wolfe quickly began maneuvering to take control of Fritz's assets, legacy, and public image. The facade of grief quickly faded, exposing something far darker underneath: greed, betrayal, and a chilling question that carried a $6 million price tag. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that this was not just about a fractured friendship. It was a calculated play for power, money, and the ruthless manipulation of history for personal gain. Less than 48 hours after Frank Fritz's death, Mike Wolfe made a startling move. He reached out to a lawyer, not to mourn, but to claim the rights to Fritz's name for commercial purposes. He also discreetly accessed Fritz's secret storage units, known only to a select few, which housed valuable antiques. Then came the bombshell. Court documents revealed that Fritz had left his entire $6 million estate to Wolfe. The revelation sent shockwaves through Fritz's family, friends, and fans, transforming their grief into deep suspicion. At the core of the lawsuit was one pivotal question. Did Frank Fritz have the mental and physical capacity to sign the will? If the answer was no, Wolfe's claim to the $6 million estate could unravel, lending credence to theories of manipulation and greed. The investigation took an even darker turn when Wolfe's private journals were discovered. Within their pages, a side of him the public had never seen emerged, one consumed by anger, resentment, and an unrelenting drive for power. One chilling entry, written just weeks before Fritz's death, read, "Without me, this show wouldn't exist. He's become a burden." The events surrounding Fritz's death only fueled the growing suspicion. Surveillance footage revealed Wolfe at Fritz's home late at night, just hours before he made the 911 call himself. While he appeared visibly distraught at the scene, the autopsy anomalies, his incriminating search history, and the chilling journal entries painted a much darker picture. All the pieces seemed to suggest something far more sinister than a simple tragedy. A search of Wolfe's home uncovered a hidden safe, inside which were several bottles of unlabeled drugs. Forensic tests later confirmed that the substances matched the poison found in Fritz's body. However, the true bombshell came with the discovery of notes alongside the drugs, personal journal entries laced with resentment, cold calculations, and a clear, unmistakable motive. These entries revealed not only an opportunity for betrayal, but the chilling detachment of a man who had once called Fritz his brother. Mike Wolfe, once adored as the face of American pickers, now found himself at the center of a real-life nightmare. not as a collector of antiques, but as a man consumed by ambition, greed, and betrayal. His chilling journal entries read like a blueprint for murder, carefully planned and executed with ruthless precision. These once-hidden notes became the centerpiece of a case that shocked the nation, exposing a side of Wolfe that no one could have ever anticipated. The high-profile trial of Mike Wolfe stretched over 6 intense weeks, captivating the nation and filling the courtroom with spectators every day. Headlines chronicled each twist and turn as prosecutors presented a damning case, methodical, evidence-backed, and designed to dismantle the carefully crafted image of American pickers. What emerged was a chilling truth buried beneath the layers of fame, a story of betrayal that no one could have foreseen. The autopsy report shattered the early assumptions. Frank Fritz hadn't died of natural causes, but from a lethal dose of fentanyl, a drug never prescribed to him. The theory of a stroke quickly crumbled as investigators dug deeper. What they uncovered was chilling. Wolfe's search history was filled with phrases like, "How to simulate a stroke," "undetectable poisons," and "Can stroke-like death be detected in autopsy?" It became painfully clear this wasn't a tragic accident. It was the meticulously crafted plan of a cold-blooded crime. Further investigation revealed a hidden safe in Wolfe's home, packed with unlabeled drug bottles. Forensic tests confirmed they contained the same toxins found in Fritz's body. Yet the most disturbing discovery came from Wolfe's personal journals. Among entries detailing work stress and creative differences, there were pages drenched in anger, envy, and cold intent. One line stood out above all. "Without me, this show wouldn't exist. He's become a burden." The words painted a chilling portrait of a man driven by far darker motives than anyone had imagined. Courtroom surveillance footage captured Wolfe's car arriving at Fritz's home in the dead of night, just hours before he made the 911 call. Though he appeared grief-stricken in the immediate aftermath, his actions in the days that followed painted a very different picture. Wolfe quickly moved to seize control of Fritz's assets, pushed for the rights to his name and image, and gained access to hidden storage units packed with valuable antiques. The urgency of his actions, combined with the mounting evidence, reinforced the prosecutor's claims. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was a cold, calculated act of premeditation. Testimonies from American Pickers crew members only intensified the growing storm. A former production assistant recalled rising tension on set, bitter arguments, and Wolfe's growing obsession with complete creative control. One moment stood out above the rest. Wolfe turning to Fritz and coldly saying, "You don't deserve to make the same salary as me anymore." It wasn't just typical workplace friction. It was a deep fracture years in the making, one that would ultimately shatter their partnership. Testimonies revealed a chilling pattern of emotional manipulation. Wolfe had systematically isolated Fritz from the cast and crew while quietly taking control of Fritz's intellectual property and personal assets. His quest for dominance went far beyond creative differences. It was a calculated, ruthless plan to claim the show's legacy as his own. In the end, Wolfe didn't just betray a business partner. He betrayed a friend who had stood by his side for decades. As the verdict was read and Wolfe was sentenced to life without parole, a heavy silence settled over the courtroom. For Fritz's grieving family and the fans who had welcomed him into their homes for over a decade, the moment marked a sorrowful end. What had started as a celebration of American history and friendship had concluded in betrayal and loss. The sentence served as a grim reminder of how the pursuit of fame and fortune can lead even the most familiar faces down the darkest of paths. Following the verdict, the future of American Pickers hung in the balance. The History Channel swiftly pulled all episodes featuring Wolfe, highlighting the severity of the situation. Their public severance from him only intensified the damage to the show's reputation. Longtime fans, once loyal and enthusiastic, were left reeling, struggling to process the betrayal that had torn apart the heart of a show they had trusted for years. For many, Wolfe's betrayal was both personal and professional, tainting the heart of a show they had come to love. Meanwhile, the legal battle over Frank Fritz's antique collection, the very soul of American Pickers, added another layer of complexity. As his family fights to preserve his legacy and protect his intellectual property, the full extent of Wolfe's actions continues to unfold. In the end, American Pickers' legacy is now split in two. One side marked by greed and betrayal, the other by integrity and loss. Thank you for watching. This has been a dramatic and heartbreaking story, and we hope it provided valuable insight. Be sure to follow us so you don't miss our next video. Until next time, take care and stay informed. The courtroom in Las Vegas was tense as the judge delivered the final verdict. Austin Chum Lee Russell, one of the beloved stars of Pawn Stars, was sentenced to prison, and the weight of the decision hit him hard. Overcome with shock, Chum Lee collapsed in the courtroom, causing a dramatic scene that left the audience in stunned silence. His fall from reality TV fame to facing legal consequences was a moment no one saw coming, marking a devastating turn for the star who had once been a fan favorite. The courtroom was filled with tension as Austin Chum Lee Russell, star of Pawn Stars, collapsed in shock after hearing his sentence. Once a beloved TV personality, his fall from grace came after a dramatic legal battle that shocked fans. What led to this moment? A series of criminal charges and legal missteps uncovered a darker side to his public persona. If you're intrigued by this story, like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates and stories. Chum Lee, the beloved star of Pawn Stars, is known for his humor, laid-back personality, and his ability to bring authenticity to the show. Over a decade on television, he became a fan favorite, famous for memorable moments like purchasing a professional pinball machine and showcasing his own video games. His fun-loving demeanor helped make Pawn Stars a hit on the History Channel, and he was adored by fans for his unique charm and quick wit. Chum Lee's impact goes beyond his memorable catchphrases. He played a pivotal role in shaping the collectibles market, helping elevate the gold and silver pawn shop's fame. His savvy decisions to build his personal brand transformed him from an ordinary pawn shop employee into a cultural icon and a major figure in the television industry, solidifying his place as a beloved star on Pawn Stars. Chum Lee's success was built on his likability, natural charm, and authenticity, despite facing early doubts. While often seen as the comedic relief in the shop, he refused to be typecast. Instead, he focused on developing expertise in specific collectibles, proving his value and earning his spot as an essential member of the Pawn Stars cast. Chum Lee's charm and authenticity quickly earned him a beloved status, making him a breakout star of Pawn Stars. What truly set him apart was his ability to connect with viewers on a personal level, making a lasting impact across the U.S. His television career skyrocketed his fame, while his strategic mindset and business ventures highlighted his savvy as an entrepreneur, building a strong personal brand beyond the show. Chum Lee's personal brand flourished through diversification, including a candy clothing line and lucrative personal appearances, which helped him earn millions. However, his wealth would later fund his legal defense amidst shocking accusations that stunned his loyal fan base. As Pawn Stars continued to thrive, the show became one of the highest-rated cable TV programs, with over 500 episodes and streaming availability, cementing its place in television history. But with Chum Lee's legal battles, the path ahead for both him and the show began to take a new, uncertain direction. With its high production value, Pawn Stars quickly became one of the most educational and entertaining reality TV shows. Meanwhile, Chum Lee faced the inevitable challenges that come with fame. Initially, the public embraced the lovable, goofy character they saw on screen, with his personal appearances attracting large crowds, proof of his popularity beyond the show. However, the contrast between his on-screen persona and the private struggles he was enduring created tensions that would follow him for years. "I've lived two completely different lives," Chum Lee admitted, reflecting the disparity between his public image and private battles. But fame has a way of making you feel invincible. "I was determined to enjoy every moment, especially when people recognized me everywhere I went," Chum Lee confessed. This newfound confidence fueled a more lavish lifestyle, while Pawn Stars continued to focus on historical artifacts and high-stakes negotiations. Chum Lee's personal life grew more extravagant, with luxury cars, a mansion, and a vast collection of sneakers and jewelry. His social media posts showing off extravagant shopping sprees garnered millions of views and helped craft a public image that starkly contrasted with the humility he once had. Starting at the pawn shop in the mid-2010s, there was a noticeable contrast between Chum Lee's career success and his growing personal luxury. As Pawn Stars reached new heights, its viewership peaked, with special episodes attracting over 7 million viewers. Meanwhile, Chum Lee's personal brand flourished with the launch of Chum Lee's Candy Shop on Las Vegas Street and a successful product line. However, the pressures of fame began to take their toll, and Chum Lee struggled to balance his rising success with personal challenges that threatened to derail his career. Chum Lee often attributed his struggles to the sudden shift from anonymity to fame. "Going from an ordinary guy to someone who couldn't go to Walmart without taking 500 photos drove me crazy," he admitted in a rare, candid interview. "I turned to things to help me cope. It nearly cost me everything." This personal chaos stood in stark contrast to the increasingly professional nature of Pawn Stars. By 2016, the gap between his public persona and private reality had grown so vast, with the show continuing to portray him as a lovable, quirky character while his off-screen life became more tumultuous. The innocence that fans adored on-screen was starkly contrasted by the troubling reality of Chum Lee's life off-camera. Behind the scenes, his life had taken concerning turns, marked by increasingly reckless behavior that would eventually make headlines. The most dramatic turn came in March 2016, when a police raid at his Las Vegas home was linked to a sexual assault investigation. "We executed a search warrant as part of an ongoing investigation," Officer Rodriguez stated in a press conference, with the news quickly spreading across entertainment outlets, sending shockwaves through Chum Lee's fanbase and the broader reality TV world. What authorities discovered during the search led to additional charges that were unrelated to the initial investigation. The raid quickly became a hot topic in the entertainment world, with news outlets speculating on its potential impact on both Chum Lee and the future of Pawn Stars. A week later, TMZ revealed shocking details that stunned his loyal fanbase. Authorities had uncovered guns, drugs, and drug paraphernalia at Chum Lee's home, an alarming contrast to the upbeat, lovable persona that had captured viewers' hearts. The revelation was far removed from the humility and charm fans had come to associate with him on television. A fan shared in a viral social media post how this situation has changed the way people view Chum Lee, saying it's hard to reconcile the image of the fun-loving, humorous TV personality with the recent allegations. If these stories have caught your interest, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Don't forget to share with your friends and family to dive into these surprising stories together. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about changing yourself through plastic surgery? Let us know. Watching Chum Lee on Pawn Stars, he always seemed like the fun-loving, laid-back guy everyone enjoyed watching on TV. However, the stark contrast between his on-screen persona and the turmoil brewing behind the scenes was undeniable. In the weeks that followed, prosecutors built a case against him, filing multiple felony charges, including possession of firearms and drugs, with a potential prison sentence of up to 20 years. If convicted on all charges, these legal battles didn't just carry heavy consequences. They also posed a direct threat to Chum Lee's carefully crafted public image as a lovable, comedic TV personality. The legal troubles facing Chum Lee sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, threatening to bring down one of the most beloved figures in reality TV. The core of his career and financial success was now at risk. Court records revealed startling details about what authorities uncovered during the raid at his home. Along with a variety of firearms, including assault rifles, investigators found drugs and drug paraphernalia, deepening the gravity of the situation. Although the search was initially triggered by an ongoing investigation into an alleged sexual assault, the discovery of these additional items only escalated the legal and public fallout for Chum Lee. Despite no charges being filed for the alleged sexual assault due to insufficient evidence, the raid exposed a lifestyle that posed significant risks to public safety. Prosecutors were now pushing for maximum penalties, citing the dangerous nature of the items discovered in his home. As the trial began, the atmosphere was charged with tension. Chum Lee entered the courtroom, his somber expression illuminated by the flash of cameras. His Pawn Stars colleagues were notably absent, a stark contrast to the vibrant, comedic persona he once portrayed. The man who had entertained millions was now facing the very real consequences of his actions. The prosecutor's opening statement set the tone for the trial, emphasizing the severity of the charges: serious violations of controlled substance and firearms laws. The courtroom fell silent as photos of the seized items, including firearms and illegal substances, were displayed for all to see. Chum Lee, visibly distressed, kept his gaze fixed on the floor, occasionally shaking his head as damaging evidence was presented. The tension in the room escalated with each new piece of evidence, making it clear that the stakes were high, not only for Chum Lee's career but for his personal freedom as well. Chum Lee's defense lawyer tried to downplay the drug charges by questioning whether the substances found were for personal use, as there were no signs of trafficking. The tension rose when the discussion turned to the weapons. The defense argued that Chum Lee's collection of historical firearms was just that, a collection, but the expert pointed out that such items require proper licensing and storage. The courtroom grew tense as both sides presented their cases, leaving Chum Lee's fate hanging in the balance. His actions were often magnified and scrutinized, leading to bad decisions. His lawyer emphasized that Chum Lee was a product of his environment, someone who struggled with the pressures of fame and sought validation in unhealthy ways. They argued for a more lenient sentence, pointing out his lack of prior offenses and his role as a positive public figure for many years. However, The prosecution maintained that his celebrity status made him a role model and thus heightened the severity of his actions. As the trial reached its final stages, the stakes grew higher. Chum Lee's legal team pushed for a plea deal, hoping to avoid a lengthy prison sentence. They emphasized his remorse and willingness to make amends for his mistakes, while also highlighting his positive contributions to the community and the fans who had supported him throughout his career. On the other side, the prosecution was firm, arguing that Chum Lee's actions had consequences that went beyond personal mistakes, especially given his influence as a public figure. The tension in the courtroom was palpable, as the final verdict loomed over the once-beloved reality star. The courtroom buzzed with tension as fans outside held signs of support for Chum Lee. Inside, the stakes were high. His defense team argued for leniency, citing his clean record and community contributions. The prosecution reminded the court of the severity of his actions, stressing that fame didn't exempt him from the law. As Judge Michael Davidson prepared to deliver the verdict, all eyes were on him, knowing the decision would impact not just Chum Lee's future, but possibly the future of Pawn Stars itself. The judge carefully reviewed the details of the plea deal, weighing the factors involved. The courtroom was silent, the atmosphere tense as Chum Lee stood, visibly nervous. He pleaded guilty to one firearm charge and a minor drug offense, with the remaining charges dropped. As the judge spoke, the gravity of the moment settled in, knowing that this guilty plea would shape the next phase of Chum Lee's life. The verdict not only marked a significant legal turning point, but also cast a shadow over his career and the future of Pawn Stars. The judge also ordered that Chum Lee be banned from appearing on Pawn Stars for the duration of his probation. The courtroom gasped as the sentence was read aloud, marking a harsh consequence for his actions. Chum Lee, visibly shaken, stood silently as the weight of the ruling settled in. While he avoided prison time, the impact on his career and public image would be felt for years to come. Fans of the show and critics alike were left to wonder if this marked the end of an era for Pawn Stars. Chum Lee nodded, his face a mix of relief and regret, as the gravity of the situation weighed on him. The tension in the courtroom was palpable, with many fans left in stunned silence. The sentence, though avoiding prison time, was a sharp contrast to the carefree persona he had built over the years. The restrictions placed on him, especially the ban from Pawn Stars, meant that his public career would never be the same. As the judge concluded the hearing, Chum Lee's lawyers quickly gathered their papers, signaling the end of the long, arduous legal battle. The once-beloved reality TV star now faced a future far removed from the spotlight, forced to rebuild his life away from the cameras that had made him famous. Fans, still grappling with the news, were left to wonder, could Chum Lee ever reclaim his former life, or was this the final chapter for him in the public eye? Chum Lee's knees buckled, and he collapsed, his lawyer rushing to support him. The courtroom was in chaos, with spectators and law enforcement quickly reacting. The judge paused, ordering medical personnel to attend to the defendant. The tension in the room was palpable as Chum Lee was carefully escorted out of the courtroom, the once vibrant star now a shadow of his former self. The weight of the consequences, combined with the pressure of the legal battle, had taken a toll on him physically. Fans, who had once cheered for him on Pawn Stars, were now left grappling with the reality of his downfall. The road ahead for Chum Lee was uncertain, but the immediate shock of the moment seemed to underscore just how close he had come to losing it all. The courtroom was thrown into chaos as Chum Lee lay motionless, his body trembling uncontrollably. His lawyer and the bailiff frantically attempted to revive him, while the judge called for immediate medical assistance. The once confident, easygoing television personality, now reduced to a shadow of his former self, was a stark contrast to the man who had made millions with his charm, and WIS paramedics rushed in and attended to him. The audience was left in stunned silence, unable to believe the turn of events. The flashing cameras from reporters filled the air, capturing the devastating moment that was quickly becoming the most talked about scene in television history. His fall from grace had reached its tragic, physical climax. Chum Lee's collapse in the courtroom shocked fans worldwide, overshadowing the legal verdict. The emotional toll of his legal battle was clear, with social media flooded with messages of support. Rick Harrison's visit to Chum Lee added to the media frenzy. The event shifted the focus from the trial to the star's personal crisis, leaving fans wondering if this marked the end of an era for Pawn Stars or a chance for Chum Lee to rebuild his life. The History Channel, in response to the growing public concern, released a statement expressing their support for Chum Lee's health and well-being, but also confirmed they were evaluating his future with Pawn Stars. Fans were left questioning whether Chum Lee would continue with the show, with many expressing hope for his recovery. In the meantime, Chum Lee promised to focus on his mental health and make the necessary changes. The industry watched closely as the once carefree reality star faced an uncertain road ahead. Chum Lee's words reflected a deep shift in his outlook, signaling a more introspective and humble side of the reality TV star. Despite the scandal, fans and the network alike were cautiously optimistic about his potential comeback. The possibility of a redemption arc within Pawn Stars felt like a fitting conclusion to a story that had gone from fame to legal turmoil and now to a moment of personal growth. His new attitude promised a future that, while uncertain, carried the potential for personal and professional renewal. Chum Lee's statement marked a new chapter in his life, shifting from the chaos of his legal struggles to a more determined, focused future. Fans were eager to see how his redemption arc would unfold, with many expressing their support on social media. The possibility of his return to Pawn Stars added an element of intrigue, with some speculating that the show could leverage his story as part of its evolving narrative. For now, though, the focus was on Chum Lee's commitment to turning his life around, meeting his obligations, and proving he could regain the trust he had lost. Chum Lee's focus on personal growth and health over a quick return to television resonated with many fans. His thoughtful response hinted at a more grounded and mature approach to his future, signaling that he understood the importance of repairing both his public image and personal life. As fans continued to rally behind him, the potential for his return to Pawn Stars became more about redemption than a fall from grace. The show's continued success and the public's interest in his journey kept hope alive for Chum Lee's eventual comeback. Fame can have a profound impact on personal judgment, as it often brings a mix of pressure, temptation, and heightened expectations. For some, the spotlight amplifies vulnerabilities, making it harder to maintain balance and perspective. Chum Lee's journey seems to reflect the complexities of navigating fame, the struggles with identity, the blur between public persona and private reality, and the consequences of decisions made under constant scrutiny. It's a stark reminder of how important it is to stay grounded, no matter how high the fame or success. What do you think? How do you feel about fame affecting personal choices? Welcome to the channel. Today, we're diving into a jaw-dropping story that has stunned the world. Cesar Milan, the famous, legendary dog trainer, has been sentenced to life in prison. Stick with us as we unpack the shocking details behind this unbelievable twist. Is this the result of a surprising investigation or a shocking incident involving someone we once trusted to tame even the most unruly dogs? Stay tuned as we reveal the truth behind this jaw-dropping turn of events. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're uncovering the shocking details of Cesar Milan's case and why he's facing such serious prison time. Stick with us as we explore everything that's happened and what's next. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop with the latest updates. Let's dive right in. These stories highlight that Milan is not just a dog training expert, but someone who has profoundly impacted the lives of countless families in ways they never expected. One such example occurred when animal control gave Milan an ultimatum to improve the behavior of Rex, or the dog would be put down. In desperation, Miguel knew that Milan was hosting a weekend seminar in their city. Although he couldn't afford a ticket, he stood outside the venue for hours, hoping to catch a glimpse of his hero. When Milan left the seminar, he noticed Miguel standing there and asked why he wasn't inside. After hearing about Rex's situation, Milan did something extraordinary. Not only did he invite Miguel in to attend the seminar for free, but he also offered to come to their home on Sunday afternoon to personally help with Rex. That day changed everything for Miguel and his family. Milan spent hours working not only with Rex but also speaking to Miguel about discipline, responsibility, and the importance of positive energy. Miguel's mother, Martinez, witnessed a remarkable transformation. Her son, who had once been withdrawn and angry, listened intently for the first time. The most pivotal moment came when Milan pointed out that Rex's behavior was a reflection of Miguel's emotions. "My dog reflects my energy," Milan explained. "When I'm angry at the world, he feels the need to protect me. When I'm calm, he relaxes." With the new techniques Milan taught, Rex's behavior transformed dramatically. But the most significant change was seen in Miguel, who, under Milan's guidance, began to take control of his emotions and responsibilities. Martinez saw her son, once full of anger and frustration, begin to open up and embrace a more positive path. Miguel began waking up early to exercise, adopting the healthy habits Milan had taught him. He returned to school, improved his grades, and gradually distanced himself from negative influences. Impressed by Miguel's dedication, Milan offered him a summer job at his dog psychology center after high school, opening a new door for Miguel. 10 years later, Miguel now runs a rehabilitation program for abandoned dogs, using the lessons Milan taught him to help children who have faced similar struggles. His work has transformed the lives of many families in the community. Martinez proudly affirms that Cesar Milan's influence goes far beyond dog training. He's helped people like Miguel find new direction and purpose in their lives. In February 2019, during a severe snowstorm, Winters was watching Cesar Milan's show when the power suddenly went out. As night fell and the temperature dropped to dangerous levels, she realized her generator wasn't working because of the heavy snowfall. When she went outside to check the situation, she discovered something unexpected. A car had slid off the road on the long, remote path leading to her house. What Winters didn't anticipate was that the car belonged to none other than Cesar Milan, who had accidentally taken the wrong route while in the area for a lecture. Stranded in the storm, Milan found himself in need of help at the exact moment Winters did. After helping Winters back to her house in the middle of the snowstorm, Milan quickly realized she was showing signs of hypothermia. With no electricity, no communication, and the temperature continuing to drop, he immediately sprang into action, relying on his childhood survival skills. Milan made a crucial decision: to get Winters and the dogs into the shed and build a fire to keep them safe. Winters describes the following hours as a survival lesson. Milan gathered materials, constructed a shelter out of straw, and worked tirelessly to keep the fire going throughout the night. Despite the harsh conditions, he ensured the dogs lay close to Winters to keep her warm, all while talking to her to keep her alert. He told me about his childhood in Mexico, about crossing the border with nothing, about his dreams and failures. Winters recalls, "I think he purposely kept me awake because he knew that falling asleep while hypothermic could be very dangerous." As dawn broke, Milan ventured outside into the freezing conditions. After nearly 2 hours of walking, he finally found an area with cell service and called for help. When medical personnel arrived, they immediately recognized the critical condition Winters was in. They told her that without the warmth from the dogs and the small fire, she wouldn't have survived the night. "Younger and healthier people than me have died in less harsh conditions." Winters recalls, her voice filled with gratitude. "I truly believe Cesar saved my life." What's truly remarkable is that Milan never publicly spoke about the incident. It only came to light when Winter's daughter happened to recognize him on TV and reached out to his legal team. When asked about the event, Milan recalled just one detail. She was the woman with 3 beautiful dogs. This simple statement speaks volumes about how he views life. Milan didn't see his actions as extraordinary or worthy of praise. He simply did what was necessary to save a stranger and her dogs. No recognition needed. Despite the powerful and emotional testimonies highlighting Milan's kindness and dedication, the final verdict in court was not in his favor. When the judge read the sentence, the room was filled with stunned silence. Milan, who had remained composed throughout the trial, finally broke down during his closing statement. With tears in his eyes, he said, "I just wanted to help. I wanted to save the dogs that others had abandoned. I wanted to show people that with patience and the right guidance, any relationship can be healed." Before being led away, Milan delivered a final message to his supporters. "Take care of the dogs, feed them so they don't have to work for it, treat them right so they can live a happy life. Never give up on your principles. Calmness, determination, and balance are the keys, not just with dogs, but with life itself." In the courtroom, many were moved to tears, including several members of the jury. Outside, hundreds of supporters and their dogs gathered, holding signs that read, "Who will help the desperate dogs now?" and "Cesar saved my family." For countless people, Milan was more than just an exceptional dog trainer. He was an embodiment of patience, perseverance, and unconditional love. Patricia Williams, 67, a grandmother of 5, shared how Cesar Milan helped transform her overactive rescue dog into a calm and loving companion. "He taught me how to set boundaries with love, stay calm in crisis situations, and understand how our energy affects those around us. I've even applied these principles with my grandchildren, and it's made me a better grandmother," Williams said. She is one of thousands who sent letters of support to Milan during his imprisonment and contributed to the legal fund to assist with his appeal. "He gave so many people hope when they were about to give up on their dogs. We're not giving up on him now," said Elizabeth Morgan, 59. She traveled from Seattle to attend the trial with her service dog, a German Shepherd who had once been aggressive but had been retrained using Milan's methods, helping her remain calm throughout the emotional trial. "Before meeting Cesar, I could hardly leave the house because of PTSD," Morgan recalled, gently stroking her dog's head. He was scheduled to be euthanized because of his aggressive behavior, but a trainer used Cesar's methods to give him one last chance. "Now, he helps me recognize panic attacks early, supports me when I go out, and has helped me regain my life." Thousands of dogs like Max, and their owners like Morgan, have found a second chance thanks to Cesar Milan's transformative work. Despite the harsh sentence, Milan's legal team remains optimistic about the appeal process. They highlighted several procedural errors during the trial and emphasized that they have a strong case to challenge both the verdict and its severity. A life sentence for non-violent crimes related to his training methods is unprecedented and entirely disproportionate, said lead attorney Rebecca Martinez. We firmly believe in his innocence, especially regarding the most serious charges, and we are confident that the appellate court will address the important legal issues in this case. In a heartfelt letter shared by his family, Cesar expressed his gratitude to those who have supported him and reaffirmed his lifelong commitment to his mission. My body may be confined, but my spirit remains fully dedicated to creating balance and harmony between humans and dogs. Every day, I receive hundreds of letters about lives that have been changed and dogs that have been saved thanks to the principles I am fortunate to share. These stories continue to inspire me to pursue my mission of restoration and providing second chances. Our work is not just about training dogs, but about expanding hearts, minds, and homes to welcome creatures who need us. This work must continue, whether I am here or not, because there are millions of dogs out there. Cesar Milan, famously known as the Dog Whisperer, was visibly shaken as he was sentenced to life in prison. This shocking turn of events has sparked public outrage and raised serious concerns about the fairness of the justice system. The man who spent over 2 decades helping dogs once considered untrainable and restoring peace to families struggling with behavioral issues now faces an unimaginable future. A lifetime behind bars, far from the animals he's devoted his life to saving. For years, Milan welcomed thousands of families across America, offering hope to dog owners battling with unruly pets. He's always believed that with patience, understanding, and the right methods, even the most challenging dogs could be rehabilitated. His calm demeanor, reassuring smile, and unwavering faith in second chances made him a beloved figure to millions of dog lovers worldwide. But now, this iconic figure in dog training finds himself at a crossroads, facing a future no one could have seen coming. Jennifer Anderson, 56, a loyal supporter of Milan, attended every session of the trial to stand by him. She shared a deeply personal story about her mother, who suffers from Alzheimer's disease and often forgets everything. Despite her condition, Anderson's mother always recognized Milan's soothing voice whenever his show aired. Watching him work with dogs brought her peace and provided rare moments of clarity amidst the turmoil of her illness. Tearfully, Anderson expressed the deep pain she felt seeing Milan treated this way, especially after all the good he has done for so many families and animals. The case against Cesar Milan began nearly a year ago when federal agencies launched an investigation into his training facilities after receiving anonymous allegations about his methods. What started as an inquiry into administrative concerns soon took a darker turn as investigators uncovered financial misconduct in his international operations. Prosecutors accused Milan of orchestrating a complex scheme involving the illegal importation of wild animals, tax evasion, and the misuse of charitable funds. However, the most serious charge, the one that ultimately led to his life sentence, was that his dog psychology center was linked to the deaths of several dogs, allegedly suffering from severe injuries. Prosecutors described Milan's training methods as inhumane and dangerous, arguing that his actions put the animals at risk. Despite the gravity of these accusations, Milan has steadfastly maintained his innocence, insisting that many of the dogs had pre-existing health conditions and were already scheduled for euthanasia before he stepped in. If this story has grabbed your attention and you want to stay updated on the latest developments, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'd love to hear from you. Drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Let us know what you think about this case and its impact. We can't wait to read your perspectives. Dr. Maria Rodriguez, a veterinarian closely involved with Milan's organization, testified that the dogs in question had endured horrific abuse, starvation, and had been forced into dog fighting rings. Many of these animals had suffered severe injuries and had gone without proper treatment for years. Despite the undeniable risks of taking them in, Milan couldn't turn his back on these animals. He understood that, without his intervention, they would have been abandoned and left with no chance of survival. One of the most heart-wrenching testimonies at the trial came from Sarah Thompson, 58, an elementary school teacher from Colorado. She tearfully shared how Milan had saved her family's dog, Bear. Bear had been Emma Thompson's emotional support dog after the tragic loss of her husband in a car accident. But as Bear grew older, his behavior became increasingly unpredictable and aggressive, attacking strangers and other dogs. The Thompsons tried everything, from professional training to tranquilizer medication, but nothing seemed to help. After Bear attacked a delivery person, animal control gave an ultimatum: improve Bear's behavior, or the dog would be euthanized. Emma, already devastated by the loss of her husband, couldn't bear the thought of losing Bear too. Desperate, she sent a letter to Milan's show, not expecting any response. But in what felt like a miracle, Milan agreed to help. He arrived at their home on a chilly fall morning, ready to work with Bear and offer the family the hope they had been desperately searching for. But what happened next was something that would never be aired, yet it completely changed everything. Milan worked with Bear for about an hour, but then an unsettling silence fell over the room. Thompson recalled that Milan suddenly sensed something was wrong. He noticed the signs of carbon monoxide poisoning as people in the house began experiencing headaches, and Bear's aggression took an unusual turn. With his trademark calm and professionalism, Milan suggested opening the windows for ventilation and discreetly pulled Thompson aside. He quietly explained that Bear's erratic behavior could be a result of toxic gas in the house. While maintaining the appearance of a normal training session, Milan directed a team member to call emergency services. Within 20 minutes, firefighters arrived and discovered that the family's heating system was leaking dangerously high levels of carbon monoxide. The sheriff later stated that without Milan's quick thinking and intervention, the family might not have survived the night. Thompson shared emotionally that Milan wasn't looking for recognition or attention. He simply acted quietly, doing what he believed was right to protect her family. After the toxic gas was cleared from the house, Bear's aggression significantly lessened. With Milan's expert guidance, Bear was trained to become a therapy dog, providing support to children facing mental health challenges. "He didn't just save our dog, he saved my family," Thompson said, her voice filled with gratitude. The most powerful moment in court came from Gloria Sanchez, who shared how Milan changed her son David's life. As a child, David had been attacked by a dog, leaving him with a crippling fear of animals that led to social isolation and depression. One night, while watching Milan's show, David expressed a desire to understand dogs. Desperate for help, the family reached out to Milan's center, never expecting a response. But Milan surprised them by inviting them to his farm. For a week, Milan worked with David, helping him face and ultimately overcome his fear. Milan told him, "Fear is not respect, and respect is not fear. Once you understand that, you will no longer be afraid." Today, David works as a veterinary technician and helps children with PTSD through animal therapy. Gloria Sanchez tearfully explained that Milan never asked for a penny in return. For him, just witnessing her son overcome his fear was enough. Angela Martinez, a single mother, also shared how Milan changed the life of her son, Miguel. After being abandoned by his father, Miguel spiraled into anger, joined the wrong crowd, and became increasingly hostile toward the world. As Miguel's aggression grew, the family dog, Rex, began to mirror his behavior, even becoming a threat to the neighbors. Desperate for help, Martinez reached out to Milan. Not only did Milan work with Rex, calming his aggression, but he also took the time to personally impact Miguel. Through patience and understanding, Milan taught Miguel valuable lessons about responsibility, compassion, and managing his emotions. Since then, both Miguel and Rex have undergone remarkable transformations. Miguel returned to school, and Rex became the loyal, well-behaved family dog he had always hoped for. Those whose lives have been transformed by Cesar Millan's compassionate methods are committed to continuing the values he taught and fighting for justice. If you've been touched by his work, now is the time to stand up and speak out. Visit Stand With Cara on social media with the hashtag #StandWithCesar. Together, we can show the world the immense impact of his work and work toward bringing him back to his true calling, helping dogs in need and the families who love them. Thank you all for taking the time to watch today's video. Each story offers valuable lessons and a unique perspective on life. While many questions still remain, the truth has a way of emerging in the end. Stay with us for more fascinating and surprising updates. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to share it and make sure you don't miss any future stories. We'll see you in the next video. Cesar Millan, widely known as the Dog Whisperer, has earned global recognition for his remarkable ability to tame even the most difficult dogs, transforming them into loyal and well-behaved companions. Yet, behind his fame lies a life marked by personal trials and unforeseen obstacles. Recently, Cesar faced a devastating turn of events that left him deeply shaken, struggling to maintain his composure. In this story, we delve into the shocking details of what happened and explore the unexpected challenges that led Cesar Millan to confront such a profound emotional upheaval. Cherished by millions, Cesar Millan is not only a master dog trainer, but also a man of remarkable resilience who has triumphed over countless personal challenges. However, life hasn't always been easy for him, and a recent heartbreaking revelation has left him profoundly shaken. Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind Cesar Millan's journey and explore how this shocking twist has impacted his life. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated and never miss the next video. Cesar Millan's journey is truly a testament to resilience and transformation. If his story has touched you, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What part of his incredible journey inspired you the most? Perhaps you have a personal story of your own to share? We want to know. And if you're interested in hearing about another inspiring journey, just let us know. Don't forget to like, share, and stay tuned for more. Miguel Sanchez, once lost on a troubled path, discovered his strength and purpose through the guidance of Cesar Millan. With Milan's help, Miguel transformed his life and went on to create a rehabilitation program for abandoned dogs, using them to mentor at-risk children who had once walked a similar road. In a heartfelt testimony, Miguel's mother, Mrs. Martinez, shared a powerful message. "There are dozens of families in our community who have been changed because of my son's work with the dogs, and my son would never have found his way without Cesar Millan. He not only rehabilitates dogs, but also rehabilitates people." This story isn't just about training dogs. It's about transformation, compassion, and the profound impact of second chances. One of the most poignant moments of the trial occurred when Mrs. Martha Winters, a 72-year-old grandmother from rural Tennessee, took the stand. Despite her fragile health, she made the long journey to share a deeply personal story that would shift the court's perspective on Cesar Millan. Living alone in a small cabin in the Smoky Mountains after the loss of her husband, Winters spoke about the profound connection she shared with her 3 rescue dogs, Bella, Max, and Cooper. "They're not just pets, they're my family," she said, her eyes filled with love and gratitude. In February 2019, during a fierce snowstorm, Martha Winters found herself alone in her cabin, watching Cesar Millan's show when the power suddenly went out. As the temperature plunged to dangerous levels, she realized that her generator had failed under the weight of the heavy snow. While assessing the situation, she witnessed a car skid off the road and get stuck in her driveway. To her surprise, the driver was none other than Cesar Millan, who had become lost on his way to a speaking engagement due to the storm. Without a moment's hesitation, Milan sprang into action, bringing along her 3 dogs and guiding Winters to safety in her barn. There, he quickly built a shelter to keep them warm and protected from the bitter cold. With a small fire crackling in the freezing cold, Cesar Millan turned what seemed like a life-threatening situation into an unforgettable lesson in survival. He arranged dry grass to create a wind barrier, positioning the 3 dogs close to the fire's warmth to help keep Martha Winters comfortable through the long night. But what truly kept her alive that night was the emotional support Milan offered. He shared stories of his difficult childhood in Mexico, his struggles, and the dreams that never came to fruition. Winters recalls, "He wasn't just telling stories. He was keeping me awake because he knew that if I fell asleep in the cold, I might never wake up." The next morning, when help finally arrived, Winters was still alive, thanks to the warmth from the dogs and the fire. Rescue workers later confirmed that without that warmth, she wouldn't have survived the night. When asked about his actions, Cesar Millan humbly deflected any praise. Winters recalls, he just said, "The woman has 3 beautiful dogs." That was the essence of Cesar Millan. He didn't see his actions as extraordinary or deserving of recognition. For him, it was simply about doing what was necessary to save a life and protect the 3 loyal dogs. Winters' testimony not only moved everyone in the courtroom but also revealed the true character of Milan, a man who deeply understands animals, but even more so, understands compassion, responsibility, and quiet sacrifice. When Judge Raymond Morris delivered the life sentence on the most serious charges, the entire courtroom was left in stunned silence. Throughout the trial, Cesar Millan had maintained a calm and composed demeanor, but in that moment, the emotional weight of the proceedings finally caught up with him. His head dropped, and for the first time, his hands trembled as he wiped away tears. His voice faltered as he spoke his final words before being led away. "I just wanted to help. I wanted to create balance. I wanted to save dogs, those abandoned creatures. I wanted to teach people that with patience and the right leadership, relationships can be healed. If I've failed or made mistakes along the way, I am ready to take responsibility, but my heart has never strayed from the right purpose." As Cesar Millan was led away, he turned back one last time and shared a powerful message with his supporters. Take care of the dogs, don't let them fight for food. Teach them with love and patience. Don't give up on the principles. Remember that calmness, determination, and balanced energy are the key, not just for dogs, but for life. This work must continue, even if I can't be the one to lead it. His words resonated deeply with everyone present. Many jurors were visibly moved to tears, and outside the courthouse, hundreds of supporters, accompanied by their dogs, held signs reading, "Who will help the helpless dogs now?" and "Caesar saved my family." The verdict shocked not only animal lovers but also mothers and grandmothers who saw in Milan more than just a dog trainer. To them, he was a teacher of patience, perseverance, and leadership, values that transcended pet training and impacted families and everyday life. That day, as Cesar Millan left the courtroom, He carried the weight of his sentence but also left behind a profound question. Who would step up to continue the mission he had dedicated his life to? Patricia Williams, a 67-year-old grandmother of 5, struggled to process the verdict. He wasn't just a dog trainer. He was the one who changed my family's life, Williams shared, her voice thick with emotion. He taught me about setting boundaries with love, staying calm in crises, and how our energy affects those around us. These principles didn't just help me transform my dog. They made me a better grandmother to my grandchildren. Williams wasn't alone in her support. She was one of thousands who wrote heartfelt letters to Cesar Milan during his incarceration, contributing to his legal defense fund throughout the appeal process. The letters weren't just expressions of sympathy. They were a testament to the unwavering belief that justice would ultimately prevail. He gave us hope when we were ready to give up on dogs with problems. We won't give up on him now, Williams emphasized. Elizabeth Morgan, 59, traveled all the way from Seattle to attend the sentencing hearing, standing alongside Williams and symbolizing the steadfast strength of their support and belief in Milan's mission. Max, Morgan's loyal service dog, was once a German Shepherd deemed too aggressive to rehabilitate. However, after undergoing training with Cesar Milan's methods, Max became a living testament to Milan's transformative impact. Morgan shared that before Max entered her life, she was nearly confined to her home due to PTSD. Max, who had been scheduled for euthanasia because of his aggressive behavior, was given a final chance thanks to Milan's techniques. Now, Max helps me recognize signs of panic attacks before they happen, guides me in public, and most importantly, has given my life back to me, Morgan said. She's not alone. Thousands of dogs like Max and people like Morgan have found hope and healing through Milan's compassion and expertise. Despite the harsh verdict, Cesar Milan's legal team remained optimistic about the appeal process. They pointed to several procedural issues that could serve as grounds for challenging both the conviction and the severity of the sentence. A life sentence for a non-violent offense related to animal training methods is unprecedented and disproportionate, said Rebecca Martinez, Milan's lead attorney. We strongly believe in Mr. Milan's innocence, particularly concerning the most serious charges. The legal team is confident that the appellate court will address the significant legal issues that arose during the trial. Despite the prison walls, Cesar Milan remained resolute. In a heartfelt letter shared by his family, he expressed deep gratitude to those who continued to support him. My body may be limited, but my spirit will never be confined. Every day, I receive hundreds of letters from people sharing how their lives have changed and how their dogs have been saved, thanks to the principles I have been fortunate to learn. These stories became the driving force behind Milan's unwavering commitment to his mission. Our work is not just about training dogs, but also about opening hearts, minds, and homes to the creatures who need us. This work must continue, whether I am here or not, Milan wrote. Outside the prison walls, thousands continue to rally behind Cesar Milan. Their fight isn't just for one man, but for a philosophy of life, one that has helped countless families find peace and millions of dogs lead better lives, no matter their past. Cesar Milan's spirit remains a beacon of strength, calmness, and determination, embodying the very values he has spent his life promoting. His legacy of compassion, patience, and healing endures, inspiring others to carry forward the work that Milan began. Cesar Milan, the world-renowned dog trainer, was left in utter disbelief when he collapsed in the courtroom after hearing the shocking verdict. The unexpected moment moved many to tears as the scene unfolded with a sense of overwhelming emotion. News of the incident from the Los Angeles court quickly rippled across the United States, sending shockwaves through the public and sparking intense reactions. Milan, once celebrated and adored by millions, now faces the most significant challenge of his career and reputation. Can the man who was once hailed as a master in his field find a way to overcome this storm and rebuild his legacy? Cesar Milan, the beloved figure cherished by millions, was brought to tears upon hearing the final verdict in a highly controversial trial. The courtroom fell into a heavy silence, while outside, the public was left with a swirl of questions about justice and truth. Once a guiding light for families struggling with unruly pets, Milan had worked miracles with countless dogs once deemed untrainable, bringing joy, hope, and healing to homes across the world. His transformative work didn't just change the lives of these dogs, but it also resonated deeply with animal lovers everywhere, earning him a place in their hearts. Cesar Milan has transformed the lives of countless dogs, but his journey has not been without its challenges. Nearly a year ago, an investigation into his practices was launched after authorities began reviewing complaints related to his training methods at the center. What started as a routine inspection quickly spiraled into something more complex, as allegations of financial misconduct and international connections emerged. Despite the mounting scrutiny, Milan has remained resolute in his innocence, steadfastly insisting that all dogs at his center received the highest level of care. He has always maintained that he never intentionally harmed any animal, emphasizing that the few unfortunate incidents involved dogs with severe health issues, many of whom were on the verge of euthanasia before being brought to the center for help. Dr. Maria Rodriguez, a veterinarian working closely with the Milan Foundation, delivered a shocking testimony in court that left many in disbelief. She revealed the harrowing conditions endured by the dogs brought into Cesar Milan's care. Animals that had been starved, abused, and even forced to fight in brutal dog fighting rings. Many of these dogs bore deep physical and psychological scars, with untreated injuries that told a tragic story. Yet, for Milan, these animals were never beyond redemption. He saw them not as lost causes, but as lives deserving of a second chance. Despite the inherent risks, he fearlessly took on the most challenging cases, driven by his profound compassion and unwavering commitment to never abandon an animal in need. Amidst the barrage of accusations against Cesar Milan, one deeply moving story often went unnoticed. Sarah Thompson, a 58-year-old elementary school teacher from Colorado, took the stand, her eyes filled with tears as she shared a profoundly personal moment. She recalled a pivotal moment in October 2018 when, desperate to help her daughter, she reached out to Milan as a last hope to save Emma's aggressive Rottweiler mix, Bear. Adopted as a puppy, Bear had become Emma's closest companion after the devastating loss of her father in a car accident. For Emma, Bear was more than just a pet. He was her emotional anchor, the one constant in her life that gave her the strength to keep going. As Bear grew older, his behavior became increasingly erratic, with aggression towards strangers and other dogs becoming more frequent. The Thompson family tried everything, seeking help from professional trainers and even considering medication, but nothing seemed to make a difference. The situation escalated to a breaking point when Bear lunged at a delivery person, prompting animal control to intervene. The Thompsons were left with an agonizing decision: either find a way to address Bear's behavioral issues or face the heart-wrenching reality of euthanasia. Emma, devastated at the thought of losing her beloved dog, found a glimmer of hope when Cesar Milan stepped in, helping them achieve a miraculous turnaround that brought Bear back from the brink. Mrs. Thompson was faced with the heart-wrenching possibility of losing her closest companion, Bear. In her desperation, she wrote a letter to Cesar Milan's show, unsure if she would ever hear back. To her surprise, instead of a rejection, Milan's team called and informed her they would be filming a special episode at her home on a crisp fall morning. When Milan arrived at the Thompson family's mountain house, he immediately began observing Bear, studying every movement with meticulous care. After only an hour, Milan turned to Emma and unexpectedly asked, "Have you been getting headaches lately?" The question caught the Thompsons off guard. Milan continued, "Is the house warmer than usual?" When Emma mentioned they had attributed it to stress, Milan nodded thoughtfully and suggested they open the windows for better ventilation. Then, in a quiet, serious tone, he pulled Mrs. Thompson aside and whispered, "I think your family is being poisoned by carbon monoxide." At first, Mrs. Thompson couldn't fully grasp what she was hearing, but as Milan explained that symptoms like headaches, drowsiness, flushed faces, and Bear's unusual behavior could all point to carbon monoxide poisoning, her concern deepened. Milan immediately instructed a team member to call emergency services, all while continuing to work with Bear, maintaining the appearance of a typical training session. Moments later, firefighters arrived, and the test results were nothing short of shocking. They discovered a major issue with the heating system, which had caused a dangerous carbon monoxide leak. One firefighter gravely warned them that if they had spent even one more night in the house, none of them would have woken up the next morning. When asked who had first recognized the danger, Mrs. Thompson responded without hesitation, "Cesar was the one who noticed it." Milan didn't stop at simply warning the Thompsons about the toxic gas. He continued to monitor their health for months after the danger had passed. His commitment to their well-being went beyond just the immediate crisis. He was determined to ensure they fully recovered and that Bear could adapt to his new life, free from the lingering effects of the carbon monoxide. Under Milan's careful guidance, Bear's aggressive behavior decreased dramatically. The once ferocious dog underwent a remarkable transformation, eventually becoming a therapy dog at the Thompson Family School, where he helped children struggling with reading and emotional challenges. As Mrs. Thompson choked back tears, standing before the jury, she said, "Cesar Milan didn't just save Bear. He saved my daughter, my granddaughter, and me. The man you are considering sending to prison is the one who noticed the danger that even the doctors missed." One of the most poignant moments in the trial came from Gloria Sanchez, a 62-year-old kindergarten teacher and mother of 3, who shared the heartbreaking story of her son, David. Once a happy and vibrant child, David's life took a tragic turn at the age of 4 when he was attacked by a neighbor's dog. While his physical wounds eventually healed, the emotional scars from that traumatic experience ran deep. David developed an intense fear of dogs, unable to visit friends who had pets or even walk through the park without anxiety. This crippling fear isolated him from the world and eventually led him into a spiral of severe depression. The family tried countless therapeutic methods, but nothing seemed to help David regain the joy he once had. One evening, while watching The Dog Whisperer, David was unexpectedly captivated by Cesar Milan's calm and gentle approach to working with dogs. For the first time in years, he felt a spark of interest in the animals that had once terrified him. Inspired by what he saw, Gloria decided to reach out to Milan's training center, not expecting much to come of it. To her surprise, Milan personally called and invited David to spend a week at his farm. There, Milan patiently worked with David, introducing him to calm, friendly dogs in a safe, non-threatening environment. There was no rush or pressure, just gradual steps to help rebuild David's confidence. Over time, David's fear began to fade, and he found himself stepping into the world of four-legged friends in a way no one had ever been able to help him before. One afternoon, Milan sat down beside David and shared words that would stay with him forever. Fear is not respect, and respect is not fear. Once you understand the difference, you won't fear anymore. Those simple yet profound words reshaped David's world. When he first arrived at the farm, his heart was burdened with fear. But when he left, he carried with him a newfound sense of passion and purpose. Today, David Sanchez has not only overcome the trauma from his childhood, but has become a veterinary technician. He now dedicates his life to helping other children cope with their struggles through animal therapy. David continues to honor the invaluable lessons Cesar Milan taught him, passing them on to others in need. When Gloria Sanchez stood before the jury, her voice quivered with emotion as she made a final, heartfelt plea. Cesar Milan not only helped my son conquer his fears, but he also gave him a new life, a future we thought we'd never have. Please don't take him away. There are so many families like ours who need him. The courtroom fell into a profound silence, the weight of her words hanging in the air. In that moment, Milan's story transcended that of a dog trainer. It became a testament to a man who had devoted his life to helping both people and animals find hope, healing, and light during the darkest of times. Cesar Milan's influence extends far beyond dog training. His impact has transformed lives in ways that reach deep into the hearts of those he helps. One of the most powerful testimonies came from Angela Martinez, a 54-year-old single mother, who shared how Milan helped save her son, Miguel, from a destructive path. When Miguel turned 16, his world fell apart. His father abandoned the family, leaving Miguel engulfed in anger and confusion. He began skipping school, falling in with a dangerous crowd, and slowly pushing his family away. At the same time, their German shepherd, Rex, also started displaying aggressive behavior, attacking others and becoming increasingly unpredictable. The family was given a heartbreaking ultimatum: either find a way to improve Rex's behavior or surrender him to euthanasia. Desperate, Angela reached out to Milan, knowing that he had a rare gift for turning around even the most difficult situations. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous. Miguel's determination to seek help for his family and their dog led to an unexpected encounter with Cesar Milan. With no money for the seminar, he stood outside, hoping for a chance to meet the renowned dog trainer. To his surprise, Milan noticed him and asked, "Why aren't you inside?" When Miguel explained that his family couldn't afford the tickets, Milan did something extraordinary. He invited Miguel into the seminar for free. After hearing about the struggles with Rex, Milan offered to visit their home the very next day to help. This act of generosity would spark a life-changing transformation for Miguel and his family. That Sunday, Milan not only worked with Rex but also took the time to speak with Miguel about responsibility, discipline, and the power of positive energy. Milan's words, "Your dog reflects your energy," struck a deep chord with Miguel, making him realize how his anger was impacting both Rex and his own life. Gradually, Miguel began to change. He returned to school, improved his grades, and distanced himself from negative influences. Milan's guidance helped transform both Rex and Miguel, steering their family away from a dark path and towards a brighter future. Impressed by Miguel's transformation, Milan offered him a summer job at his dog training center, an opportunity that would change the course of Miguel's life. 10 years later, Miguel has grown into a dedicated individual, using the lessons he learned to help others overcome their own challenges. He now gives back to his community, passing on the same wisdom and compassion that Milan instilled in him. And so, we've journeyed through the emotional and difficult chapters of Cesar Milan's life. While he's widely celebrated for his extraordinary ability to train and connect with dogs, behind the spotlight, there have been challenges that only the strongest could endure. Cesar's story serves as a powerful reminder that no matter how tough life gets, mental strength and resilience can help us rise above. His journey is a testament to the power of perseverance, love, and an unwavering belief in making a positive difference, no matter the odds. If Cesar Milan's incredible work has touched your heart, now is the time to take action. Together, we can show the world the profound impact he's had on millions of dogs and the families who love them. More importantly, we can help bring Caesar back to where he truly belongs, continuing his mission to help these precious creatures. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help spread the word.